Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us at Crossbuckle Homestead. Today we are going to start our seeds, and I've got our seed lights and trays right behind me. What we generally do is put them on these racks. They're using for all kinds of other things, but we've got these I think they're just fluorescent bulbs with grow lights in them. Oh yes, last week we were supposed to start our eggplant here in Indiana, and I didn't get around to it. So sometimes that's just the way it goes. But we are supposed to start our peppers today, so we're going to go ahead and do our eggplant and our peppers. But first we have to mix some seed starting soil, so we're going to be doing that out in the garage. It's really dusty, and so what we like to do it outside, probably before we shower, because it gets everywhere, up in your nose and your hair and your fingernails, everywhere. We use sphagnum moss that we bought several years ago before we realized it was a non-renewable resource, so we're using the rest of that. And we also use vermiculite. Vermiculite keeps the soil loose and light, so it doesn't crush the seeds, and it also helps maintain moisture. So that's what we use. It's like a 50-50 mix just for the seed starting soil, and we'll show you all that soon. So Jonathan's going to be helping me out today, and you can see over here we've got the remaining bag of sphagnum peat moss. We've also got a whole lot of vermiculite. As a tip, you can get those large bags of vermiculite on Amazon for like, I don't know, cents on the dollar. So that's what I recommend. These are the boxes that we built that fit our racks. They're just like leftover, I don't know, plywood, like a 1/4 inch, and we lined them with trash bags so that when we water them, the water doesn't seep through the box. It keeps everything all kind of nice there. I've bought some of these seed starter containers online, but then I also have a bunch from the past, you know, from like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever else. So we're going to go ahead and mix the dirt up in one of these 5-gallon buckets, and we'll show you the next step. After that moss is done, we have to figure out what else to use. Well, it's not. Moss takes like centuries. Add some more. A little bit more, you think? Because it's still... The goal is to get it to be not dusty. So that you don't mind actually taking them into your house.
How many do you need?
Later, you know.
So, I'm just asking.
For years I've worked out like exactly how many plants of each kind, and this year I'm not really doing that. One of my coworkers has a large property, and we're actually going to be using some of her land to garden, you know, because we don't really have enough room for like corn or beans, and so I figure if we have any extras, we can just kind of gift our starts to them as kind of a payment for allowing us to use their property. So before though, normally I make, you know, I want this many, you know, 4 of this kind of tomato plant and 4 of this kind of pepper plant. But this year, I'm being a little bit more loose. All right. And these sides here, there's like a little bit of room, doesn't quite fit one of the plastic containers. I can throw, so we save our toilet paper rolls like starting January, so all of our used up toilet paper rolls, and I start marigolds and things like that in those. since they kind of like a weed, and they grow great in those, and I can just transfer the whole thing into the soil and not have to worry about too much. So that's what we'll put there. So now that we're inside, I'm going to go ahead and figure out what seeds it is that I'm going to take care of. I normally keep any leftover seeds that I don't use in a plastic bag in their original envelope in the freezer. Helps to kind of maintain the freshness. Don't need that. Most of my seeds come from Baker Creek or rareseeds.com. I really find that they have a wide selection, and I like reading the online reviews that people have posted that kind of give me an idea of whether or not that particular variety is going to do well in my garden. You know, so if someone in Florida says that they go great, it doesn't necessarily mean anything for me here in Indiana. So I really do try and read those. If someone in Indiana or one of the northern regions says that something went gangbusters for them, then I generally know that I'll be able to grow it successfully in my garden, or at least I have a better chance of growing it successfully in my garden. So it looks like we're gonna try, but these hot paper lantern peppers are really pretty. We generally do some poblanos. We do our Thai red chili, and then somewhere in here, these are all of the seeds that I got this year. Quite a few. We're being a little bit optimistic, I would say. So that is what I'm looking for. These are my favorite. I worked in Peru for the summer multiple years in a row, and they had these ají peppers, these ají amarillos, which this is the closest rendition I can find. In the States, it's basically like a citrusy tasting hot pepper, and it is delicious. The pepper plants produce pretty early, as long as I get them into the ground at a decent size, and they produce all season long, and their pepper plants are loaded, so these are like a really good bang for your buck. I don't think I have any other pepper plants. And since I grind my own wheat and corn, I'm actually going to try making my own cornmeal from corn that we grow. So one of these is the corn Cherokee White Eagle. There it is, bronze orange. They're supposed to be mini, so they're supposed to be like 3 or 4 feet tall, and they're supposed to produce up to 5 ears of corn per stalk. So that is awesome in my book. So these are the eggplant seeds. They're very small, and then it's kind of a nice indicator. So depending on the size of the eggplant seeds, that's kind of the size of seed you can anticipate having in your eggplant. So I can totally deal with this size seeds in my eggplant. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 in each of these containers. And there you go. You can kind of see my 3 little eggplant seeds in that one container. And if there's a seed in the packet that looks funny, I wouldn't use it. What you're trying to do is create the strongest plants for your garden. So anything that looks kind of silly or funny or misshapen or not quite right, you can go ahead and toss. So I'm just going to tuck these just a little bit, not too much, but I don't want them floating when I water them. So some of them are already kind of in a crevice, and that's fine. So we're going to go ahead with the poblanos. These are the seeds, so they're larger, a little bit easier to handle. And we're going to go ahead and put 2 of those in each. And keep in mind, I will. Again, these are the pepper Thai red chilies. Seeds are a little bit smaller than the poblano seeds. And these are the ones from Johnny's, the hot paper lantern. They're kind of like more colorful habaneros. They're definitely spicy like that. Very intense heat. And let's try a little bit. Those are the seeds. They didn't produce a ton of peppers last year, but they did pretty well, and they definitely were a little bit later in the season. So if it had been California rather than Indiana, we would have had probably 10 times as many peppers, just because the plants were still going strong up until our frost. So that's the one reason why we have to start peppers pretty early here, is that we do have to get a decent sized plant into the ground earlier, I guess, as soon as the weather permits. So we generally plant our starts right around Mother's Day. So again, these are hot pepper lemon drop. They have really thin walls. They make the most delicious fermented salsa, and I can show you some of that in our freezer or our refrigerator right now. So I like these so much, I'm just going to go ahead and do a whole row. And I'm in here starting the seeds, and Jonathan's outside picking up dog poop. I think I may have gotten the better end of this deal. Oh, and by the way, if anyone has any suggestions for how we can compost dog poop, we have 3 greyhounds, and so we tend to have a lot of dog poop to pick up, and we feel terrible just throwing it in the bin. You know, it has to be nutritious because sometimes they eat it a second time. So it seems like it would be something that we would be able to take advantage of. So if anyone has any tips on that, I know that you can compost human waste. It takes I don't know, a really long time, like 1 or 2 years or something like that to compost that. But if we could even do dog poop in the same way, that would be awesome. All right, so as promised, so you can get like 1,000 of these popsicle sticks on Amazon or anywhere pretty much online, or maybe even like your local craft store. I just kind of take one of them and I'll label it. So once the plant is big enough, I can tell what it is by looking at it because I planted the dang thing. But while they're still small, I do just stick the label from the planter or from the seed starts in the garden so I can figure out what it is that's going on. Now I'm going to go ahead and carry you into the other room. I'll show you what they look like with the lights on. And I'm going to lower these a bit. Yeah, so we devised this chain system so that we could slowly raise the light above the plants. So when the plants are not growing, we want them as low as possible to heat up the soil, and we want it to provide some direct sunlight to the plant. And so we do hook these up, and I'll show you that. So these are just metal rungs on the shelf unit that we have, and we attach this little S hook to it. We just hook one of the ends of the chain to the S hook, and then loop it over, and then we attach it again to the S hook. So basically what it is now you've got, or we have, this grow light that is extra close to our seeds. What it is going to do is dry out our soil, so we're definitely going to make sure to spray that down in a little bit. But what we're going to do is just keep watching, and I'll update you on the growth of these seedlings. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll keep you updated on both the soap and the seeds. Thanks so much.